All right, so if y'all haven't noticed, I'm very intrigued by disappearance stories. I saw one today that really, really got me. I'm gonna tell you about it. Columbia, South Carolina, 15-year-old girl. Her and her friend wanted to go out with their friends. So Heather decided that she bargained with her mother. Her mother said that she needed to water the flowers before she could go. So in order to go sooner, the girls decided that Kara was going to go ahead and water the flowers while Heather took a shower so that they could go quicker. While Heather showered and Kara was watering the flowers, Kara saw this cool green Trans Am pass by the house twice, thought it was a really cool car, thought nothing of it other than that. Until this freaking creeper in his 30s or 40s pulled into the driveway, got out of the car with magazines looking for the parents of the house. And Heather was still in the shower. Kara said the parents weren't there. So, Heather's still in the shower. Guy comes up and says, "Hey, can I give these to you to give to her parents?" Got creeper Joe Biden close to her, sniffed her hair, put a gun to her, and put her in the backseat of his car in one of those Rubbermaid tubs. Those big gray Rubbermaid tubs. Yeah, she fit in there. He decided he was going to take her home. But as soon as Kara went into that Rubbermaid tub, she went into survival mode. She had a plan at that point. She was about to observe everything, gain his trust, and then dart when he was complacent. Genius. She spent 18 months in hell, but all the while, she was observing everything. She spent 18 hours in hell, sexually abused and drugged, but she remembered everything. Everything. She was a good little girl until he fell asleep. Gotta fall asleep sometime, don't you? Well, Kara thought so too. Kara took off out of the door, found out that it was an apartment complex. So she flags down the first car that she sees. This guy says, "What can I do for you?" She told him she was abducted. He takes her to the police department. The cops call her mother, and while her mother's on the way, they take her back to this apartment complex. Well, they see a maintenance man in a golf cart, so they stop. Kara tells him what she knows and what they look like, because she saw his wife too, and he's like, "Oh yeah, guess what? They're apartment 301. Police went in, and of course they weren't there. But everything in the apartment was what Kara said would be in the apartment, so they knew that was the spot. So they took his identity and her identity, and they ran it through the system, and they found who they were. Meanwhile, they take Kara back to the police department, and her mother's there, and she melts right in her mother's arms and can finally be a 15-year-old and feel again, because she was in survival mode for the last 18 hours. So after getting the ID on these scumbags, they bring a lineup to the hospital, because that's where Kara is getting examined. And she picks him out right away, right? So now they know exactly who he is, and what he looks like. This is all 2 hours after she had gone to the police. 2 hours. Sheriff Leon Lott on the case puts out a bolo for this scumbag, got the appropriate warrants, went to his house, ransacked the place, and found a locker. Like a locker. And inside this locker, they found other clippings. Newspaper clippings. You know, like a scrapbook. Memory locker for psychopaths. One of the clippings they found was from a girl named Sophia Silva, I think. 16-year-old from King George County, Virginia. Remember, he lives in South Carolina now. Well, at the time of Kara's abduction, which was 2002. So little Sophia, 16-year-old, got a ride home with friends from school. She was out on the front porch doing her homework after she got dropped off, and her sister came out to see her, and only her books were there. She was gone. That's a jump back 5 years previous to Kara's abduction and escape. Unfortunately, they did not find her alive. Her parents went to the cops right away, and they came up with something after 5 weeks of looking for her. In 1996, she was found in the water on a riverbed, tied up. Clipping number 2 they found was a clipping in the same area of Spotsylvania, Virginia, where they found sisters Kristen and Katie Lisk. They got home from school. They were inseparable. They were homebodies, so it wasn't like them to not be home. So the father came home to find the backpacks on the lawn, and the girls were missing. No girls. Huge search ensued. 5 months later, both bodies were found in a river. Bound. Just like Sophia. So in Virginia, we have 3 girls missing and murdered in the 3-month period of time. The investigation kicks into high gear. In Virginia, they noticed that hairs and fibers from all 3 girls matched each other, so they knew that they were looking for the same person for all 3 of those girls in Virginia. Back to 2002 present day. Columbia, South Carolina, 5 hours after Kara's escape. This investigator knew he had 3 more girls that this guy had killed from the clippings he found in that psychopath locker. At that point, the police agencies got together, pooled resources, and it was on. All within 6 hours of Kara's escape. Way to go, Kara. Got together, compared cases. Coincidences were, the similarities were way too much to be coincidences. So they end up finding this scumbag's mother and wife at Disney, and his sister spills and tells him that the wife denied knowing where he was. So, mom's away, so they go to mom's house to see if he's there, and guess what? They find the Trans Am. Now, apparently the Trans Am was the mother, so he used that for an abduction. Stellar gentleman. Then found an ex-wife in California who spilled the beans. Then his sister caved and told him the hotel that they were at. So that was it for him. The hotel, but he still wasn't there. The sister told us what he was driving. A high-speed chase with Sarasota PD and a canine who bit his ass, probably his leg. After he got bit, yep, he decided to